Hey guys, welcome back to Modelsim Simulator Walkthrough Tutorial for Beginners Part 2 video. So we have left here in part 1 when we created a project through Modelsim GUI, and once we created the project, it basically created a work directory. So we are gonna go do everything through script. So the first thing I'm gonna do is delete this directory, right? And then I'm gonna write the script, right? So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna open my editor and create a new file, and the first thing GUI did was to create a work directory. So we are going to do the same thing by using a command vlib, right? So just type vlib and the directory name was work. So we just type work. And then the second thing we have done in the part 1 video was we compiled our these two files, right? So we are going to do the same thing through commands. And if you remember, these commands are actually from the GUI. Like once we compiled the files, it actually gave us the command. And the command was vlog, right? So we are going to use the same command vlog. And the thing is, like, now we have to specify the name of file that we are gonna compile. So the name of the first file is example, right? Example.v. But the thing is, like, we have to tell this command like where this file is exactly located. So I mean, either way, you can specify the whole address of that file, or if we are gonna save this new file, the script, on the same level where these two files are located. So what I can do is I just use this file, which means like wherever this compile file, at the same level this file is there, right? So we are gonna specify our second file. I just did Control D to have the duplicate, and then I am gonna just change it to TB example, right? So this command is gonna go compile both of the files, right? And the third step we did through GUI was the simulation, right? Actually the start of the simulator, right? So the command the GUI gave us was vsim, right? It's gonna start the simulator, and then we had the switch GUI, and we had the switch. If you remember, we had a switch, or we can say it's an argument, no Verilog optimization, right? So no VOPT, and then we have work, right? Work, and then the same TB example, right? And if you remember, we have created a wave file. So I mentioned that time, like we are saving that file so that we can use the same file again and again, and we don't need to, put all the signals again and do the settings and everything. We are not going to do it every time. So we just save it one time, and we are going to use, or you can say we are going to load the file again and again. So when you're writing the script, what you could do is like you can just load the same wave example dot do, right? And then the last thing, if you remember, we have done is to actually start the simulation, right? I mean, we have run the simulation for particular time of period. And in the GUI the command was run, so we are going to type run. And if you remember, we have the time, time specifying option. So what we can do is like we can specify time here as like maybe just 1,000 nanoseconds, right? So we can type the unit nanoseconds, right? So I think the script looks good, and what we can do is like we can save this file exact same location. You can name it like anything, and we can save as .do file, as we have the wave file, right? So we can type compile and .do. Okay, so it's saved on the same level as we have the source and simulation and wave file, right? Now what we are gonna do is oh, I I did type a wrong spelling, so it's compile. Okay, so go back to here, and yeah, it's gonna be that way. All right. So the thing is, like, now I'm gonna open our simulator, and we are gonna see like how we can do stuff through our script. So now we are not gonna create a project. Why? Because we are gonna use the script. So the thing is like the first thing we have to do is check where we are right now. I mean, in terms of directory. So we are here. So there are two ways, right? You can either change the directory manually, like this guy D and so on, if you know wherever your project is, right? Or the second way is to go in file and then go in the option of change directory, and then you can just change the directory wherever your project is located, right? So this guy. So if I click this thing, then it's gonna execute the same command that I was telling you. Like you can change directory using like just the command line. You can do either way. Okay. Now the second thing is right now we are in the right directory and we have our script. So what we can do, we can run our script to run the whole simulation, and you will see like how quick it is. Okay. So just type do, because that's the basic command. Like once you type do, it's going to give you the instruction like the do command executes commands contained in a macro file, right? So it's going to execute everything. So that's why, because we have all the commands in a file. So in front of do, we are going to type the name of the file, right? So do and then compile, and you can see like it is suggesting like you have the file in this location. So what you could do is like just click the down arrow, and then you can just click tab, or you can just either double click here and then select this guy, right? Just enter, right? So it's gonna do exact same thing like you were doing through GUI, right? So it compiled, right? It compiled both of the files, and then it started the simulator, and it has run the simulation, right? And it actually opened up, it actually load your waveform. So you can see here we have the waveform, right? Exact same thing whatever we have saved, right? And just click F to have the whole, and you can see like the time we have specified, it ran for that specific time. See, 1000 nanoseconds. So it is very easy. Okay. So now what we can do now, the thing is like, if I'm gonna do it again, just just press the up arrow to have the previous command, or you can either type it again. And if I'm gonna do it again, what's gonna happen? Nothing, right? Why? Because it's just the script, and every time it's gonna do the same stuff, right? It's gonna create the work directory, and it's gonna simulate your design every time in exact same way, like in the first time it did, right? So that's the easiest way or the smartest way you can do. Right now what we are gonna do, we are gonna change things a little bit. For example, right, for example, if you really want to delete this work before creating a new one, right? Because sometimes we have the simulation files that next time when we try to simulate, we have the errors, or we have some kind of things that actually happen because of the libraries in work. So what we can do, we can make this guy a little bit smarter. And the way to do it is like we can check this guy, like, okay, if already there is a working directory, like how we can check it, like the way to check it is if file with name exist, right? If this happens, then what you should do is like just delete. And the command to delete the folder or the file is vdel, right? Vdel, and we can specify through argument is a library, it's not a file, right? Work and whatever in the work, delete everything, right? Delete everything all. So the thing is like, initially the first command is gonna run is this guy, like it's gonna check if it already exists, then it will delete this guy, and then it will create a new work directory, right? And then it's gonna do the rest of the stuff, right? So just save it and just go to back to simulator, and then again run the command. Okay, so we have an error. It's like error unknown ambiguous subcommand exits. Oh, sorry, I type exists instead of exist. Sorry, man. So is it AXISTS, right? So this should be good now. Okay, so just go and do that thing. So what happened? It just deleted the folder and created the new directory named work, and then it simulated everything as it is as we told it to, right? All right, then we can do a little more stuff here in the script. Right now, if you noticed here, is just we have one new file along with the directory. So the directory we have seen already, right? There is a vsim.wlf file. This file is basically created whenever you're going to use the script. It's going to dump everything in that file. So now what we can do, like in the simulator, you see everything here. It's more like your logs, right? It's more like your logs. If you want this logs to be saved in a file, then you could do it, right? How you could do it? We can do it. Like how? Okay, so there is a way to do it. Like in front of the vlog command, what we can do is like we can use the L argument, which is for library, right? And then we can say it like whatever you are gonna do, like we are saying to vlog whatever you are gonna do, save it into vlog dot log file. Okay, and the thing is like, because the thing is like what we are doing here is like we specify the files separately. So what we can do now, I can delete this one, right? And what I can say, like if I do have all the Verilog files, so I can say like all the V files, compile all the V files by using a wild card, right? Whatever the v files, all V files are gonna compile through this way, right? So or if you are using the VHDL files, then you should use a vcom instead of vlog, right? And then if you are gonna do the same thing with vsim, so we already have two arguments, so we can add another argument, the same argument that we used above. So it's gonna be vsim dot log, right? So it's gonna do the same stuff. Okay, and then save it. And then right now we don't have these two files, but now I'm gonna run this again. Okay, just do compile dot do, and then what's gonna happen, like once everything is done, you can go and check, like we do have two new files that are actually text files with the extension log, right? So vlog and vsim. So what we can do is like if you are gonna open this guy, so it's gonna give you all the information, like okay, this is that, this is that, all the logs. So if you have any like problems in future, you can do that, and you can check the vlogs, right? Because right now we do have only just two files, but once you have like bunch of files, 50, 60 files, a really big project, in that way you don't like to scroll it up or down, right? So what you could do is like save it into a file and then go to a file, and then you can just see like okay, this is that, this is that, right? And the same thing with vsim, right? If you can just click, everything is gonna be in here, so you can dump all the logs in here, right? So that's a good way to use your simulator, right? By using a script. All right, that's it for this time. I hope that helped. So if you have any questions and comments or suggestions, you can just comment under part 1, part 2 videos. And if you have any specific questions, you can also email me. All right, thank you so much.